but it could be the little things that you do just to accomplish some big goal. The day-to-day, minute-to-minute, those little tasks, well, those are cumulative. And once you do them and you accomplish that goal, you can look back and go, wow, that took me a year, but I did that.
Hey, Dr. Bill here. We are about to do another exciting Meet the Mentor. We're getting super excited. The LEAP program is filling up. Again, it will be July 22nd to the 28th at the beautiful UCLA campus. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. So many people are coming out of the woodworks this year. I think this may be the best year we've ever had. And we're super duper excited about it. So if you haven't signed up yet, please go to our website, www.leapfoundation.com. Check it out. And if you have questions, you're always welcome to call our office. So sitting with me today, I have a man who has been a mentor 3 times in the past at LEAP. The program culminates on Friday with something we call a mentor workshop, where we bring in 100 different professionals from all walks of life. And one of our LEAP coaches, Corey, who I saw last weekend at Christian's wedding, who is also a LEAP coach, actually introduced us to Andre. And he's been at LEAP 3 times, and I hope you can come again this summer.
Wouldn't miss it. And
he is a wealth manager, and I'll tell you a little bit about him, and then we'll talk about his career and some of the other things he's doing, like his TEDx talk and things like that. Andre Julian is a first-generation American-born entrepreneur with a primary focus on the financial industry. After graduate school, where'd you go to graduate school?
UC Irvine.
UC Irvine. Andre started his career working for a large independent firm and eventually became a partner, owner, and CFO of his own firm. We'll talk about that transition. And he came into the public eye for his financial commentary on television, radio, and is heavily involved in giving back through his work in education, mentoring, and charity. Andre, thank you for being here.
Of course.
What's your favorite part of being a mentor at LEAP? Because there's people out there that watch this that are thinking like, should I do this or shouldn't I do it?
You get back so much more than you give. I really do believe. I think in life that's the way it is. You get back 10 times what you give just in general. But I just remember the first year I went and did it, and they asked me questions, and they were so focused and listening to everything I was saying, writing it down, taking it notes, and they were really seeking knowledge. And I walked away from it thinking, I helped somebody. Like these kids, you know, they're going to have a different path because of your program, because of what you do, because of what I said. So the reward is phenomenal for yourself. You cannot walk away without thinking, wow, I feel good.
So you are in the financial world. You have a wealth management firm. For students out there that don't really understand what it is you do, maybe you can give them an explanation so they understand. And it will give them kind of a hashtag, maybe someday kind of feeling.
Right. You want the 20-minute version or the
quick one?
The quick version. Wealth management, if it's done properly, is really about taking a family, a person, a business, anybody, figuring out where they are today, figuring out where they want to go in the future, and just making sure that they take the proper steps to get there. You know, looking at all their finances and looking at their goals, what they're trying to accomplish. Are they sending their kids to college? You know, do they have a need for let's say life insurance? Do they have a need for college loans or college planning? It gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's really, can they at every step of their life get to where they want to go and feel secure in that?
And so you actually started off working for another company, and at a certain point decided to kind of make a break and build your own company, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that and how that happened and how it's going.
You know, it's, I would have never left that company, actually. I love that company. It was great. I still talk to the original owner to this day, but he sold it. And he basically sold it for retirement money. He technically retired when he was 40. And he just came up to me one day and said, look, I'm selling my company. I want to let you know things are going to be different. You might want to think about a different direction. And he was right, because eventually that company went out of business. And so I thought at that point, here we are. We're at a divide in the road. What am I going to do? And I thought, well, let's just start my own. I know how it works. And that's all I did. So I always think back and I wonder if that door didn't shut, would I have done that, or would I have been working there forever? And I don't know what the answer is, but it was, I think, out of necessity that I did it. And it was a huge challenge, building something from the ground up, but it was definitely worth it.
So your company is located where?
Well, now and then eventually what I did is I sold my company. I sold my company in 2012, and then I came over to a big broker-dealer, and then I built a team there. So now I have an internal team at a huge broker-dealer, and it's located in South Orange County, Laguna Niguel.
Uh-huh. So how many people are working for you now in this division?
I have 5 direct people, and then I have some ancillary partners, some partnerships that form for the things that we need, the specialist services.
What initially interested you in doing wealth management?
That's a good question. You know, I was a math geek. That's where my dad used to make me do math for hours and hours and hours a day. I was doing calculus when I was in 6th grade.
My dad made me do pull-ups.
Oh, there you go. I would have rather had that. I would have rather had the pull-ups. So I just, math was very easy for me. And so I knew I had that talent, but I also liked working with people. So at the beginning, I wanted to be a psychologist, because I thought, oh, I can help people, because that was really my drive. But then I realized that I was good at math, so what can you do where you're good at math and you get to work with people? And I just started researching, and the financial industry is what caught my eye. And once I understood what it was about, it's perfect, because what you're doing is you're solving people's problems with math.
You were just telling me a little bit about your TEDx talk.
Right.
So, I mean, that's not really anything to do with being a money manager. How did that whole thing come about? And, you know, what was the story that inspired your friend to get you to do this?
I knew a producer. She did production and also did writing and coaching for TEDx. And we were talking, just a conversation like you and I are having. And she just was asking me about my childhood and, you know, how I grew up, and I told her the story about my dad, because she was really intrigued by my dad and our relationship, and she just said, "Can you turn that into a TED Talk?" And I said, would you be interested in me doing a TED Talk, or am I just going to, you know, write it for you? She said, no, I want people to hear your story. And that's how it evolved. And so I wrote it, submitted it, they approved it, and things like that.
And what's the gist of the story?
The real gist is that when I was a kid, I was, you know, immigrant parents. I didn't speak the language. English is actually my second language. Had it rough. My parents got divorced really early, and then just, you know, had some tough times assimilating with the other children. And eventually my dad came back into my life because my mom thought that I needed a, you know, male role model. Mm-hmm. So after not seeing my dad for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years, he came back into my life, and it was great at first, but then he was just he was an interesting person, so to speak. I love my dad. He's you know, he's a great guy. I think he really did the best he could, for sure. But I had to work in interesting ways for things. So the gist of the story of the TED Talk was that I wanted a BMX bike, and he wouldn't get it to me because he thought it was a useless hobby. And he made a bet with me that he didn't think I could accomplish. And the bet was to do 500 curls in a row with some dumbbells that we had. They were like 7-pound dumbbells. I did it though. And in the TED Talk, I talk about
500?
Yeah, it was brutal. Brutal. I was 12.
Where did it start to get brutal?
I was 12.
At what number?
50.
Like 50?
It was brutal. In the TED Talk, I really describe it. And that's the part that people like.
That's crazy, 500?
Yeah.
Who counted, him or you?
Him, well, both, but he was the counter. And I just go through, you know, in the talk, I go through the process, what was going through my mind and how I got through it.
How long did it take?
Probably about 45 minutes.
Were you allowed to rest in between a little bit?
I could stop and rest, but I wasn't allowed to put the weights down.
Wow.
And so
I don't even know if I could do that.
I don't even know if I could do it today. I wanted that bike so bad.
How long were you sore?
Ever. Like, I'm still sore. I'm still sore. It's brutal. But really what happened is it's the experience of going through that, because I was bullied. I did have this tough childhood.
And you got your bike.
And I got my bike. But more than anything, it was just developing the self-confidence through doing that, thinking, wait, if I can do that, like if you can find something in your life where you say,
Right.
I did that, and it's something I think about, like I think, man, I did that. So anytime I've come up with across a challenge in my life from this point on, it's always, I did that, I can do this, I did that, I can do this, and you build on bigger things. And I think that you have to experience these accomplishments. Like I look at that as a big thing that I did, especially for a 12-year-old. But it could be the little things that you do just to accomplish some big goal. The day-to-day, minute-to-minute, those little tasks, well, those are cumulative. And once you do them and you accomplish that goal, you can look back and go, wow, that took me a year, but I did that.
Yeah, you did that. You did the TEDx. What are you doing on TV?
I actually, now I can't because of the firm that I work at, but I did financial commentary for probably about 5 years.
Oh, no kidding.
So I did. I started in radio on Bloomberg, and it's just, typical. They ask you, what do you think about, the market, the industry, the economy, whatever question they have, whatever the hot topic is at the moment. China's been a hot topic for years.
Right.
And then that eventually evolved into television. So I did commentary on Bloomberg TV as well.
Now, did you take like media training courses and all that, or you just went cold and did it?
No, I went, I feel that I get lucky. And maybe it's because I work so hard, and I like to think that it's because I work so hard that I get lucky. But when I went in to do the first interview, I had zero media training. But because I did the radio, it maybe...
You had a little training.
Like I had a little training. But two things. One, and this is my mom, she was so smart. She threw me on stage when I was 3. So I always did plays. And that was,
now that's great.
Kids that I was on.
And we do that at LEAP. We make them all do public speaking because they're really, I don't care if you're a hairstylist. You're speaking to somebody,
right.
You're selling a product, you're selling a service, and if you can't talk and relate to people, you can't do any business today.
No, not at all, not at all. So that helped because I think I was just naturally comfortable speaking in front of millions of people. That's one of the things that I said, it's millions of people. I said, it's a camera.
Right,
It's like we're right here talking, this is what it is. But then the producer in the studio that I would film at, he actually took an interest. He said, wow, he goes, that was actually really good. You've never had any training. So he started kind of helping me.
So one thing I always love to ask in these Meet the Mentors is if any young student out there is watching this and really wants to get involved in doing, wealth management, what steps would you tell them they should be taking, now while they're in school to prepare them for that? Besides being a math geek.
Yeah.
And doing pull-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing bicep curls.
And that you should do that anyway. I think because if you're healthy, that actually is part of it. It's just like with any industry, it's brutal. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, especially at the beginning. So I do believe if you're not, I know you're kind of joking, but if you're not fit, if you're not healthy, if you don't eat well, it's tough to get through the day. It really is.
I'm the biggest advocate of all for that.
No, I know you are.
Yeah.
And that is actually, I think that's important with any career that you choose. But specifically for this career, one, if it is something that you love, because I think you really do have to love it to be good at it, it's either that you're interested in economy, so if economics degree, or some kind of a statistics degree, because most of it, market analysis is all statistics. So you either have to be good at economy or statistics, or then on the other hand, it's the psychology. It's the understanding people. It's the wanting to talk to people. So if you have any of those 3 interests, it could work. Because I have someone on my team who is not great at math at all, really isn't. Doesn't really follow the economy, isn't really that interested in it. But he is the best, I'm telling you, no offense, best people person I've ever met in my life. You're good. This guy is...
Oh, no offense taken.
No, but he reminds you of you, and that he's just so natural and so easy to talk to, and he can make friends with anybody, and that's all he does. But he loves this business. He's just not good at the business part of the business, but he's great at meeting people. And so the reason I say that is because just because you want to get into the industry doesn't mean you have to be good at math. There are other sides of the business.
And the other good thing about your industry is there are a lot of great entry-level positions that people can go, and start off, in so many different firms,
right,
where they literally give you an opportunity not only to learn, but to kind of prove yourself to move up the ladder to the next place.
Right. Yeah, well, where I started out, so I had my master's degree already, but I started out as an assistant. I started at the bottom.
Right.
And it was just, back in the Stone Ages, I would actually run tickets to the desk. We had physical tickets, write up, run to the desk, and organize your tickets. I remember that. It was so inefficient, but part of it was just that running back and forth, and it felt like you were on the New York Board of Trade or something.
Right, right.
But I did that and got trained and then understood the industry and then slowly worked my way up. Because it's tough to start at the top in any industry, but specifically this one.
So you started off in a big firm, you then opened up your own firm, you're now back in a subdivision in a big firm.
Right.
What's next?
Well, I'm going to keep on doing that. The goal is to build a team that is around forever. I don't know if that's because you want succession planning for your clients, so you want to make sure that they feel like they're always taken care of. So who I hire, and it's a lot. Part of it is their ages, and so the goal is for me to eventually retire, but then pass it on, but in a way that the clients aren't impacted at all. Cool. I'm writing a book right now. I'm kind of in the middle of it, and it's actually about, part of it is about my childhood, and you're the first one to know this, besides some of my close friends. It's actually about lessons that I didn't learn from my dad. And it's because I think so many people are looking for a role model, and my dad was kind of the anti-role model, and that he did a lot of things that were wrong, and because of that, he didn't really get to where he wanted to be. So for instance,
it called Lessons My Dad Didn't Teach Me?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a working title. And so, and so I'm working on that. I've been doing some speaking, and so I'll continue doing that because I enjoy it. Continue doing things like this, doing LEAP and being a mentor. I love being a mentor.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate
phenomenal.
it. I honestly think that's one of the magical parts of the program. And every year when we have the patients, we have our students do an evaluation of the program, that's always kind of their highest rated thing. So with that, I just want to say next week we'll have another great Meet the Mentor. Like I said earlier, we're filling up the program, so if you want to go to LEAP or you have questions about the program, you can call our office. And with that, I'll say, Dr. Bill, over and out.